Hi viewers and welcome to the channel and welcome to another episode of the Understanding FreeCAD series. We're on lesson 4 and we're looking at formulas. So we're going to create a simple object like so, and each of these pads are linked together via a formula, including this feature here. So if I come into the pad and change the length of one of the sides, so this will be the thickness, you can see those are changing, and also the thickness and depth of this feature here. We also can come into that pad and change the length. So we've got this length here, double click it and set this to something like 50mm and close. You can see this has changed as well. So we've got this thickness here and we've got the 10mm width walls. Can come back into the pad and change that to something like 2mm, and you can see how that's changed. You notice that this feature is keeping the same, so this feature has been set to be a datum value to be away from these edges, but this feature is in relation to the length of this side and also the depth of this edge. So this is going to be quite a quick video to go through these. I hope it helps you understand how formulas work so you can take those on to use them in more complex models. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the site. I also have a Ko-Fi or a coffee site that you can donate to if you so desire, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. I also run a Patreon where you can subscribe and get extra content, and that's at www.patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Any money that's kindly donated will be used to expand the channel. So we've got FreeCAD open. We just need to create a new document. We'll come up to File, New. And that's been created in there. And we're going to come over to the part design. We're going to create a simple square and pad it up. So we've got create body here. We can come up to the create body and then create a sketch. Let's use the task. We're going to create a body and create a sketch. And we're looking to place it along the top, this plane here, the XY plane. Hit OK. So we're on the XY plane and we're going to create a simple square using create a rectangle in the sketch. Place it into a sketch, and I'm going to make these sides, these two here, equal. So I selected those two, put those in equality. That means when I change this, it will be a square. So those two sides are equal, also making these two sides equal. We can center this around this point, but we first need some kind of length constraint. So I'm going to select the top, this one here, and create a fixed horizontal distance between 2 points. And we're going to set that one to 100mm. Because it's a square, we could have used this side or any of these sides to do this. I'm now going to constrain this to the center. So this point is going to be in the center of this square, and that will make it fully constrained. So I'm going to select one point at this corner here, select the other point, and we're going to make a symmetry constraint across these 2 points and this center point. So if we create symmetry between these two, straight down, that'll be straight down the middle. So coming along here, then what will happen, select one, select the other, and then select the last one that we want to make symmetry with. This will be fully constrained to the center there. So close, and we're going to add a pad on there. So hit pad, we'll come up to part design, create an additive feature, and hit pad, making sure that this is green, so it's been selected. So come onto the model, you can see that sketch has been selected there. Let's hit pad and just give it a 5mm pad. Now take notice of this length here and take notice of the little icon we have at the end. We're going to be using this shortly. Hit OK. And this is a 100mm square with a 5mm pad. What we're going to do now is create another side. So I want a 100mm side here using this top face. So I'm going to select the top face and create a sketch upon that top face. I'm going to import some of the geometry in this. So using this here, create an edge, link to external geometry. We'll come out to Sketch, Sketch Geometries, External Geometry, and we're going to pull in the vertexes. So you can see we can pull in lines. We're going to pull in the vertex at the top here and the vertex here, like so. Click on those vertexes. We've got those two vertexes there. I'm going to hit Escape to get the mouse pointer back and use the square rectangle tool here. We've got the auto constraints on. Come down here, the auto constraints. That means when we come in, if we roll over this constraint, you can see we get a coincidence constraint there. So to the right of the pointer, you see that coincidence constraint there. Just click once and move the mouse over to the other side. I'm going to drop that somewhere inside here, and we're going to do the other coincidence constraint manually. Hit Escape or press the right mouse button to get the points back. Click both the top constraints and hit coincidence constraint in there. So that means that line has gone green, so we know this is a 100mm line. If any of this shape changes in length, then this will change as well. Now we need to create a length in here. Now remembering that our pad is 5mm, well, we need the same for here. So what we normally would do, come in and select that and use a height constraint and then type in 9mm. But we don't have to do this. We can make a formula that connects up this length with the pad by using the little icon at the end. Click on it and we can add a formula. Now remembering that the pad, come over to the model, let's clear that, cancel, let's come over to the model. Remembering this pad, if you click on it, if we look down, there's the length there that says 5mm. So we're going to be using that length. Let's come back into our sketch and select that length there. Set the vertical distance, come into the formula, this little icon on the end, and we'll get this formula editor. Just hit delete. We see fail to pass expression because we haven't got anything in there. If I hit uppercase P, you can see the pad is there. Let's select it. It's placed a dot on the end. So now we can press L for length and we get the length there. Let's click on the length and we get 5mm there. So that's taken the length underneath from the pad and added that 5mm there. Hit OK and we've got a 5mm pad that's been added. You can see it's greyed out and that means it's in the formula. If we wanted to enter this manually, we just hit clear and we get the formula back. Let's just OK that and OK, and we get the 5mm pad there. This is all fully constrained. You can see the constraint has become orange. And if we look down the left hand side, look at our constraints, we can see this constraint in here. It's constraint 10 is 5mm and it's got a little formula on the end there. So now when we come out, let's scroll up to the top, hit close, we can see that sketch is upon there. So if we change this pad, come into the model, go into the pad, let's just change that length. So the length of that pad, I could double click it and change it through here. So I'm going to put a 10mm pad on here. Hit OK. You can see that this is all snapped back into position and now we've got a 10mm gap in there. Let's pad this up. Let's bring this over here, view over, and add a pad to this sketch. So click the sketch, add the pad, and well, we need to do this 100mm, so it's going to be 100mm this way minus the 10, so 90mm. Well, again, we can come into this formula here and actually use the formula. So what do we need? Well, let's come out of there and just leave a 10mm pad for the time being. We'd need that to be the same length as this pad. Now if we come into the original pad, which has been hidden here, and double click the sketch, we know we've got 100mm length here. So we're going to use this. Now the way to do that is to double click it, and we've got this name option here. So I'm going to name this side length. Notice that the casing will matter. So if I did lowercase side length, then they will actually be different constraints. Casing does matter in here. So if uppercase S, uppercase L on those, and hit OK. So I've named this now. If I hit close and come back into this pad, double click it, we're dealing with this one. Let's go into the formula, and we're looking for our sketch. There's a sketch here, so let's type in SKE and click sketch, and then start typing constraints. See, we've got the constraints coming up. Constraints, hit a dot, and then type in side length, and you can see it's come up 100mm there. But we need to minus off the width of this pad. So again, we can actually edit this, hit minus, type in P, AD for the pad, then the dot will be added, and then length. And we've got our 90mm there. Hit OK, and now we've got two the same. So this will be 100mm going this way and 100mm going this way. Hit OK. And we can measure that by using the measuring tool. So we get 100mm. So I selected one point to the other point, that's 100. Clear all the dimensions and click this one and this one, and we get 100mm there as well. So you can see those two lengths are the same. Clear all the dimensions and hit close. So we know now that if we change our original pad size, so we want 5mm there, and OK that, then if we go back to this pad, press the spacebar, then we're going to get the same here. The same if we go into our original sketch and change this one, say 80mm, hit close, then the other one's going to be 80mm as well. So we've kept those both in union with each other just by using the formula at the end. And all of these, or most of these, if you come in to these, not the placement because it's actually attachment, there is a formula icon on the end. So we can actually change these at will in our model and connect them up to constraints, sketches, etc. I'm going to add a pocket in here now, but I only want the pocket halfway through. Select this face, we're going to add a sketch to that face, and we're going to create a slot in sketch. I'm going to place it along this line. I'm going to place it along here. Hit escape to get the mouse pointer back. And I'm going to make this point and this point symmetrical to this point. But we're going to need some length in here, because if I try to do that and hit symmetry, then we've still got this to constrain. So let's add some length to this. So we could come into here, this point and this point. Let's zoom in and make sure we don't select this line here. So we need that point and this point, and add a distance constraint in there. And to get our bearings, let's have a look at 50mm. So I'm happy with 50mm along here. So this is going to be the length of this divided by 2. So we can come in, double click that. So come into the formula and type in sketch dot constraints dot side length. At the moment it's 80mm, so let's divide that by 2, hit OK, hit OK again, And that's our pocket that we want to do, that slot in there. And we can do the same for the width of this as well. So I'm going to come into these points here and do a height. Go into the formula, sketch, dot constraints, dot side length, and we'll divide that one by 4 and hit OK and OK on that. So we've got that there, so these will keep in proportion when we scale this. Let's hit close, and we're going to pocket this, but I only want to pocket halfway through, so I'm going to go for pocket, and I'm going to use the formula again, and this one's going to be pad dot length. This one here, click it and divide that by 2. Yeah, okay, and we've got that pad length come through, divided by 2 to create that pocket. Yeah, okay. So now when we come into the original sketch in that pad, this one here, and change this one to something like 100 millimeters, hit close, then we get this scaling effect. So everything is controlled by the formulas. So now we have a few of the formulas set up. We still may want to add something like a 5mm hole here that's around 10mm away from the edge. We can still do that and use the datum constraints in there. It's up to you if you want to add formulas to them, but we must remember that if we're using holes through here, that we need to take account of the depth. So we need to use the right pocketing method to go through here. Let's add a sketch to the bottom. And we're going to import these 2 vertices using the import geometry tool. We just click on those vertices to make them red so we can access them. And we're going to add a circle. Hit escape to get the mouse pointer back, and that's set the diameter of that hole or that circle to 5mm. I'm now going to place this 10mm away from this point on both the length, horizontal, and also the height. So this point and this point, and make a vertical constraint in there of 10mm. So that's placed there now. If we hit close, we can see that circle there. Now if we try to pocket this using the pocket tool, then we must make sure that we don't supply a dimension. Or if we do, we use the pad dimension in here. So using the formula again, we use the pad dot length in there and hit OK. So we've got that in there. But the best idea is to use this type and go to first. That'll bring out to that first face. If we went through all, then anything overlying this, say if we had another pad going along here, will be pocketed through as well. So we don't want that. We'll make sure that it's through to the first, and then we don't have to worry about adding any features in here, pad.length, pocket.length, etc., to cater for this width. So I OK that, and we change the pad again, go into the pad, length 5, you can see that's gone all the way through that face. Same if we come into the sketch and set this, there we go, set this to 100, hit close, you can see our hole is there. So it's up to you if you want these holes exactly 5mm, 10mm, etc. away from these edges, or you want to take account of the length as a whole and use some kind of fraction value or percentage value in here. I'm just going to add another hole. So this sketch at the moment is our base sketch, so we don't need that one. Let's come back down to our pocket, open that up, open that sketch. And there's ways of doing this to get it over to this part. I could use a part design mirror to mirror this across, but I'm just going to use this circle, control click this line because it's in the center, and come over to the symmetrical tool, also available on sketch tools, symmetry, and that pushes it over here. This is still mobile. As you can see, it's not fully constrained. So to do that, I'm going to use this point in here and click this point in there to make sure they are kept in line with each other using the horizontal constraint. And then I can just place in a length in here. Smooth this over a bit. Don't want a height, we want a length, and 10mm from there. That's fully constrained now. So when I close this, those have gone through all as well. So it's up to you if you want to use datum or you want this to be formalized as the rest. Hope that's given you an example of how to use the formulas. It's up to you how you want to use them for your application, but this gives you a quick overview of how they work with sketches and also pad and pocket features. If you like what you're seeing, please subscribe to the site. I also have a Ko-Fi or a coffee site that you can donate to if you so desire, and that's at ko-fi.com/MANG0. I also run a Patreon where you can subscribe and get extra content, and that's at www.patreon.com/MangoJellySolutions. Any money that's kindly donated will be used to expand the channel. Thanks a lot for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you again soon.